Hey, so in this tutorial we're gonna take a look at how to create this effect of sequin pieces on any cloth. And this is our shader or material. This is how it looks. We have tiling for texture, normal map, normal stuff, and then you have tiling for how many sequin pieces you want. The inner space and the outer space, you can play with smoothness and metallic. You can also change this random, and you can take a look at this random normal for these sequin pieces so that it reflects in different directions. You can have tint for the sequin, or you can use the albedo color. This is without using it, and this is with the albedo color. You can also have a mask, which is why in these squares there is no sequin pieces, while there is in these ones. And it would basically use this threshold to determine if there should be or not, based on how much you set the threshold to. The mask tiling is it's probably going to be the same if it is the same texture as the albedo. Otherwise, you can change it to match whatever look you are or feel, whatever you're looking for. And I have a cloth component on this object just so you can see how it reacts. The bottom part is using the same thing. So let's just jump into it. Let's put this back here. Let's go to our shader. And let's zoom in. I'll start by explaining the sequence pattern creation. So we have our sequin tile connected to a tiling and offset. You can obviously have an offset parameter to change the offset if you would like. We take the fraction of that so that we have repeating squares. We plug that into, in my case, I created this subgraph that draws a circle. We can use whatever function you like for creating a shape, such as the like triangle or whatever it is, ellipse, etc. I'll show you how I created this one, which is quite simple. It takes the size and the UV. We are going to subtract 0.5 from the UV so that we have so I can show here. Basically it will show us the distance. When we use the length, we're going to have the distance from the middle of that UV and outwards, right? And if we use that as the input of a smooth step and we put in the size multiplied by 0.5 so that the value is between 0 and 1, we use that as the first edge, and we subtract a small amount, which is 0.02 from the second edge, to have a little bit of fade between them. And that's our output. So, two circles. One uses the outer parameter as the size, and one uses the inner one. The inner one we are gonna plug into a 1- so that it's the opposite value, basically. We multiply these two and we have this pattern. And we are going to use this pattern. We're going to multiply it by the mask first, and then use it for all other effects. So we're going to see how the mask is happening. Here we are creating this square pattern in our UVs so that we can discard a full sequence rather than, or a sequence piece, rather than cutting it in half or whatever it is, right? What I'm doing is putting the tiling in a tiling and offset of the sequin pieces. We're going to get the floor, and then we're going to add 0.5 so that it's in the center rather than in the beginning. And then we divide that by the same value, the tiling, so that we still have a value between 0 and 1. Now after that, we have square-shaped UV. We're going to multiply it by our mask tiling parameter, and then we're going to use that as the UV for the sequence mask texture. And then we are going to get the length. You can obviously use only the red channel or whatever you want to use for based on the input texture, basically. And then we plug that in the input of the step function or node. We use the mask threshold parameter as the edge, and then we do a 1 minus, so that now we have our mask. We multiply that by our pattern, and you can see it will discard the places that are based on the mask. So after that, we're going to look at the random normal per sequin piece. And what I'm doing is I'm getting the floor from the tiling and offset, and I'm generating 2 random numbers. The second one, I'm just adding some arbitrary value to the seed so that it's different. And the maximum value is our parameter, and the minimum value is the negate of the parameter. After that, I'm just creating a vector 3 out of the 2 random values as x and y. Z is always 1 for normal maps in tangent space. And I'm normalizing this value and plugging it into a lerp function. The t is obviously going to be our mask, or like a sequin multiplied by mask. And which is going to look like this. And the other one is going to be our normal map texture, which is just, sampling a normal map texture and putting it into a normal string, so that if it is not defined, you can set this to 0 and the mesh wouldn't look weird. And you can see, based on the mask, it will either set the sequin piece place into the random value, and the other places are just going to be our texture normal map. And next is our color, which is again just sampling some the albedo texture, and I'm using I'm putting that in the B of a lerp, and the other one is just 1111, and the parameter of use albedo as the T, so that we can use the albedo texture as color for these sequin pieces, right? And I think if we change it here, you can see that it will affect the color of the sequin pieces. It will use this basically instead of this. And then after that, we multiply that by our color tint, and we use that as the B. Of course, we're going to use also the sequin multiplied by the mask as the T for this lerp, so that we switch between having our albedo texture for everything and this value that we have for where the sequin pieces are. And we just plug that into the base color. We simply multiply the same sequin multiplied by mask. We multiply that by the metallic parameter and plug it into metallic, and we multiply by smoothness and plug it into smoothness. So yeah, that's about it. Hope you like it. Thank you so much for watching. Make sure you take a look at the links for my assets. It's the only way I get support from you guys. And yeah, have a nice one.